Вітаю, це медіа-центр Ukraine Odessa.
Welcome to the Media Center, Ukraine Odessa. We are launching our today's briefing. We have Minister of Defense of Ukraine, Oleksii Reznikov, and Minister of Defense of the Republic of Croatia, Banožić. Please, Mr. Oleksii, your word. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I'm glad to present here again in Media Center in Odessa. That's a good tradition when I welcome our guests, friends of Ukraine, ministers of defense of friend countries, exactly here on the south of Ukraine. And today I have an honor to welcome Minister of Defense of the Republic of Croatia, Banožić, who is serious and powerful friend of Ukraine and who always show staunch position on the behalf of Ukraine during all our meetings in regime of Ramstein Club, and I'm very grateful for this, Maria, for your personal involvement, not as a person who is taking a position of the minister, but as a person who understands Ukrainians, because Croatia itself experienced warfare, and your people know what is tragedy of Vukovara and what is memory for dead people, for tortured civilians. You know how to pay tribute to your memory and how to stand for your independence and for your freedom. That is the biggest value of the country, and people of Croatia know how to reinforce your defense capability when you have unfriendly neighbor. Therefore, they are conscious about being allies and partners to Ukraine in this unjust warfare launched by the Russian Federation. Aggression itself started in 2014, which was hybrid warfare, shifted to full-scale invasion, which began in February of 2022. We have political and economical and military support from the side of Croatia, and since the very first days we have been receiving different assistance. The first pack was set in Ukraine on 28th of February in 4 days since the beginning, and this brother nation of Croatia gave their help to us and assisted us in not only resisting the enemy, but also they helped us to kick it away from Kyiv, Sumy, Kharkiv region. Me and Mr. Maria, we discussed continuation of our needs, our priorities, which remains stable. This is air defense, different assets beginning with sophisticated and powerful, and up to manpads, which also consists of Strela and Igla, which may be provided by Croatia, and they've already done this. We had this experience, therefore that's absolutely understandable for our partners. Croatia has a great experience in demining, because that's a country which is dealing with humanitarian demining for more than 25 years, and it continues to do this because that's a heritage of those warfare which took place on their territory. Croatia has a quite powerful territorial center. Therefore, we discussed possibility of training of our instructors for humanitarian demining of our lands and water surface. We also visited different places here in Odessa, which belongs to defense. We also conducted a grain initiative briefing when Ukrainian grain and Ukrainian sunflower oil are being sent to starving countries, to Africa countries and Asia countries, and we agreed upon further cooperation with Croatia. Therefore, I'm very grateful for the people, government and parliament and Ministry of Defense of Croatia for being together with us. So, Maria, please.
Oleksii, media representatives, I'm glad to be in your country again. This visit is one more confirmation that Croatia and Croatian people stands with Ukraine. We supported your fight for freedom from the beginning and will continue to do so far as long as it takes. For more than a year now, you are fighting the brutal Russian aggressor. I'm confident you will be victorious. President Zelensky and you, Oleksii, show to everyone that brave leadership makes Ukraine successful in this fight. We understanding your suffering very well. Our experience of the defensive homeland war from the 90s is the reason we know that what you are going through. We also talked about veteran care and post-war efforts like demining. Of course, we talked about the assistance that Croatia gives to Ukraine from the beginning of the Russian aggression. Croatian government provides political, diplomatic, financial and technical help to Ukraine. We also provide humanitarian help and many Ukrainian refugees found shelter in Croatia. We will not stop there. Croatia will continue to help in different ways. We will also do it through available mechanisms in the European Union. Our parliamentarians hosted the International Crimea platform in October in Zagreb last year. That was a strong message of unity in support of Ukrainian people. The international community will continue to stand by Ukraine. That is very important to say. International law and internationally recognized borders of countries must be respected. Terrible Russian war crimes in Ukraine are unacceptable. So Croatia supports the work of International Criminal Court. All of Europe must be aware that Russian missiles which fell on Ukraine are not so far away from our own homes. This Russian aggression and Russia's influence have effects on security, but also on the economic situation in Europe. We can especially see it in countries in South Europe, which are Croatia's neighbors. For that reason, support to Ukraine on condemnation of Russian unjustified and unprovoked aggression goes beyond the borders of your country. It's about desire for stability and peace in all of Europe. So you can count on Croatian government. Croatia stands firmly with Ukraine. Finally, I brought my friend Oleksii, a Croatian symbol of suffering, but also of freedom of Croatian people, the replica of Vukovar Water Tower. Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава. Thank you for your speech. Колеги, будь ласка, ставте запитання, я надам мікрофон.
Dear colleagues, please your questions and I will give you a mic. My name is Serhiy Osachuk. I'm from 1+1 channel. Just months ago we had information that Croatia is going to provide 14 helicopters Mi-8. On which phase this project is being placed and did you receive anything, Mario?
Like I said, the Croatian government from the beginning support the Ukraine on the financial, technical and material level, give the political support. One of the political support is through the decisions that we have on the all government process. So one of them is helicopters, and I expected that we finish the transfer so soon.
Дякую дуже. Наступне запитання.
Thank you. The next question, please. Mr. Minister, good afternoon.
So your main battle tanks from the West are beginning to arrive. You've also asked for jet fighters from the West, but do you feel that the impact of the main battle tanks, the big tanks coming from the US and the United Kingdom, can be effective without the jet fighters, perhaps with better air defense systems acting as cover for these tanks? Thank you.
That's a good question. For sure, me as a Minister of Defense, I would like to have a full package of support for the armed forces of Ukraine and for the whole defense and security sector. And for sure, I'm always saying that the main combat aircraft, it is primarily a part of our air defense system. That's a posture number one, because that's exactly those elements which is missing for us to consider our air defense system as a complete and efficient one. For sure, for counteroffensive, it is better to have an ability for air superiority. That's extremely important, but we will consider those realities which we have as of today, and we will use those armament which we have as a heritage of former Soviet period, and simultaneously those armament which we received and continue to receive from our partners. That's not only about tanks, that's about different types of armored vehicles, which may be divided into heavier infantry fighting vehicles, so armed personnel carriers. They are both armored with different objectives, and today our service people are completing their training on the training fields in Europe. Some of them have already arrived in Ukraine, and now they're being prepared, and it will be the general staff decision where and when and in which way they will be involved. So we understand clearly that receiving by us of modern fourth generation aircraft, that's just a matter of time. I have no doubt we will have them, but it will take time for training, for primarily decision by our partners, because that's absolutely practical decision. Later on, training of our pilots, and not only pilots but also engineers who will deal with maintenance of these aircrafts. Therefore, I think that option of the nearest counteroffensive and receiving of combat aircrafts will be divided in the time frame. Thank you. I have time for one more question for Mr. Reznikov. If we are talking about air fighters, there were information in French press that there were some decisions and agreements about Mirage aircrafts. Is it true? Maybe say that there is some agreement, a training, and something like this. I'm really grateful for representative of French medias who are up for Ukraine and giving positive news, which are unfortunately not true. Probably that's just a good materialization of the idea, but currently I may not prove that Mirage is given to Ukraine or we are training for these aircrafts. And I would like to give you a technical understanding. Nowadays, Ukrainian air forces have a MiG-29, that's fighter jet, and due to its radars, it is able to see on distance 60 kilometers and engage aerial targets on the distance 30 kilometers. That's just a matter of construction of armament. And the enemy, using Su-35, is able to observe more than 200 kilometers and engage at more than 140 kilometers. Mirage, that's aircraft which is able to see 60 kilometers and engage on 30 kilometers. So let us be realistic about us being satisfied with any aviation platform for usage by the armed forces of Ukraine, but the main combat aircraft probably should be more sophisticated, with ability to see up to more than 200 kilometers and engage targets on distance more than 150 kilometers. The same story with tank coalition which we have today, where we have several types of tanks, but the main battle tank is the one which will be mostly used by the armed forces of Ukraine. Therefore, I think that we will continue discussion with our partners, and as a result, Ukraine will be armed with main combat aircraft. Thank you, Mr. Oleksii. We will finalize our briefing. Thank you for this visit. This was Oleksii Reznikov, Minister of Defense of Ukraine, and Mario Banožić, Minister of Defense of the Republic of Croatia. Thank you.